just want to just come alive. I don't know. I don't feel alive most of the time. Anyway, I'm trying. I guess I'm just trying. I'm not doing yet. I'm trying to get my head back normal because it went somewhere else. I don't know. I think the Son of Perdition did something weird. I don't know. He's mean like Rod. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know. Something about me, I guess. Anyway. Hope everybody's doing alright. And stuff and stuff. Wish I knew how to work in this world. I don't anymore. I just get attacked. You know, and I don't like too much being attacked. Especially for stupid stuff. You shouldn't attack anybody just for freaking God. You shouldn't be ripping anybody's head off. I think that was my job in another life, actually. Cutting heads off. Yeah. But, hey. I don't skip time, because sure would be a lot of heads if I did. What is today? It is March 8th, right? March 8th? 9th. Right. Alright, March 9th. Loneliness expresses the pain of being alone, and solitude expresses the glory of being alone. Paul Tillich. It may be said that the road between loneliness and solitude is the highway to self-esteem. As we begin our quest, most of us fear and flee loneliness. We make sure we have plenty of company and continuous talk. Blessed in the silence we have to hear ourselves. When we're alone, we may keep a radio or a television going to fill the airwaves, or we talk on the telephone. As we come to know and become more comfortable with ourselves, however, that noise hunger eases up. The disappointing, inadequate self that we always avoided starts to look more interesting. Perhaps like someone we'd like to spend some time with. Get to know better when they're not interrupted, cued, or drowned out. Our own thoughts become our most abiding source of challenge, comfort, and encouragement, and self-respect. See, that's what I'm waiting for, is my own thoughts to just be that way, right? The aloneness is the same whether we're suffering loneliness or enjoying solitude. The magical difference is in our attitude toward ourselves. Getting comfortable with my own company is a sign of growth. That's it. That's, what is it called? Believing in myself book every day. Yeah. And I thought I would read out of my favorite book. How about How Can I Forgive Myself? Look at this book. It's so tore up. It's like if your mind, be prepared to be torn up, right? Okay, look to understand your negative feelings as a loving mother would understand a confused and frightened child. When the denial of God within you is being challenged, it is a most propitious time of your life. Do not deny the part of you that is in the darkness, or it will manifest again. When you become aware of misjudgment, of ill-timed, ill-conceived thought and action, when you recognize your desires for vengeance, your anger, or unforgiveness, I'm recognizing it, that's for sure. It's like a grrr. I can't stand it. That is the time for self-congratulations. Congratulations, Tammy. Your new insight now allows you to handle these things in a far more conscious way. It is an opportunity. A door has been opened. A light has been turned on. With awareness, you give yourself the gift of an for growth and change. Do not criticize yourself because in darkness you could not see. When you find the light within you, you will know that you have always been in the center of wisdom. As you probe deeper into who you really are, with your lightedness and your confusion, with your angers, longings, and distortions, you will find the true living God right here in me. Yeah. Then you will say, I have known you all my life, and I have called you by many different names. I have called you mother, and father, and child. I have called you lover. I have called you sun and flowers. I have called you my heart, but I never, until this moment, called you myself. I think I always go to that one. It's like one that I've been to like so many times. I like it though. It's cool. And I called you flowers. You know, it's my favorite. My favorite flower is Brandon Flowers, and he's white. How can I forgive myself? How can you not forgive yourself for being exactly who you are? To find the God within you, you must go through the portal of self-acceptance, as you are now. Yes, all your faults and imperfections, all your little secrets, fearful ugliness that you are loath to admit to yourself, are already known. They are part of the divine plan. True acceptance is saying, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Self-acceptance bypasses the need for self-forgiveness. So accept that I'm just what I am. Vanity is the need to establish a pleasure, or vanity is the need to establish a pleasant connection with the self. Be patient and gentle with it. Once you have learned to admire yourself, which indeed is absolutely deserved, then you will go deeper, for you will have found at least the shell of security. Let me remind you that beneath the vanity may lie a trap. And you know the one very well I pointed out to you. And you know this, and you know this one very well I pointed out to you, so that you can become free of it. Once you have loved yourself on the surface and have felt vain in that regard, there develops the gnawing doubt that you are never seen for who you really are, that you are only seen for the mask that you put on, and that you have learned to present. Once you find that your vanity has become a trap, you will begin to let it go, for it no longer serves your purpose. But never doubt the value of it. It is only a misrepresentation of what you are truly seeking. But then, if you will stand and look around you in your world, if you will stand and look around you in your world, isn't everything. That didn't really make sense, did it? So please talk about anger. It is such a spiritual downer. What are some practical ways to deal with it? Stop calling it a spiritual downer, for one. The fact that you can spontaneously feel anything is a joy and a remarkable gift. Are you aware of how many human beings believe they must filter even the most intense emotions through the intellect in order to maintain control a most painful circumstance? Celebrate your spontaneity. It is not a spiritual downer, but an indication that if your anger can erupt, so can your heart open, and so can God speak to you. Oh, is that how it's healthy? I had a counselor tell me once that it's a healthy um, emotion. Thank you. Oh, I got comments. Anger is a protective device. It is quite enough for you to experience your anger. Nothing more needs to be done with it. Underneath your anger is always fear, and underneath fear is always a longing. Fear is one of the most major cornerstones of the karmic condition. It speaks to the distrust of eternal love. It is a disbelief in yourself. It is an extreme perversion of truth and light and love, which is precisely what your world is all about, the healing of the extreme distortions of truth and light and love. Fear is a fungus that grows rapidly in the dark places of the consciousness. It is the most powerful of doors that closes off the Word and the light of God. Fear is the dragon at the gate. It is a denial of light. A denial of light is a resistance to God. It is the falsehood that separates you from God. What are we really afraid of? You fear humiliation. You fear to be wrong. You fear that if your knowing is brought into your human experience, it will be dissolved. You fear to trust truth. You fear to love in an imperfect world. You can allay fear through prayer, through meditation, through clear thinking. Try to accept your areas of ignorance and reluctance as the parent accepts the unreasonableness of a child. Understand what this darkness is saying by accepting the erroneous thought process into your own being. You bring it under you bring it under your roof and are able to alter it to the light. Listen to your fear with a wise ear. What are you afraid of in life? What are you afraid of in yourself? You must challenge fear and ask it what it means to say. As you go into the fear with eyes open, heart open, and courage flowing freely, you will see that fear is only an empty room. Fear is only as strong as your avoidance of it. That's probably true, yeah, for sure. The greater your reluctance to see the fear, oh wait, the greater your reluctance to see the fear, to accept it and embrace it, the more power you allow it. Fear is the unknown. It is the imagination. It is not reality. There is nothing to fear in the universe, even death, which is a fundamental truth and a necessity in your particular scale of development, has, has nothing to fear in it. Rest yourself in the reality of God's eternal and everlasting presence and know that there are plans deeper there, or that there are plans deeper. There is a consciousness wiser, loving hearts far more powerful than any that walk your earth. I bless you with the awareness of your eternal safety. It is not a matter of destroying fear, but of knowing its nature, and of seeing it as a less powerful force than the power of love. Fear is a trick, a sham, a sleight of hand. It is illusion. The master magicians are heavily at work in your world. Demand to see up the sleeves, behind the back, and underneath the table. Expose the magician for what he is. The magician of fear is a humbug. Fear is only looking in the mirror and making faces at oneself. Fear of the unknown is forgetfulness. There is no such thing as the unknown. To the soul, there is a natural fear and resistance when one does not recall one's own divinity. You are safe. You are safe. You are infinitely safe. Oh, my dears, if I could only make it possible for you to experience the loving, gentle kindness of the universe, the balance, the fairness, the sweetness, and the joy, there would never be another moment of fear in your entire lives, and this is true. Guess I better read the comments, huh? Hi, Wayne Screen. Great night to you. Hi. Thank you for subscribing. There's a roach on your wall. Really? Where? What kind of roach? That's for, you are a good reader. Thank you. I try. I have to exercise my voice now because I've been quiet for a while. You should give me $1,000 so I can bet on Denver beating up. In Denver? Yeah, well, they really haven't won since, what is his name? My mom used to like the Denver Broncos. Anyway, if I had $1,000, I'd maybe bet on it for my mom. Sorry, I don't have $1,000. You want to give me $1,000? I'll buy me a new house. Welcome everybody to my channel. I'm Tammy Lynn. Tammy Lynn Robinson Caruso, but I just go by Tammy Lynn. I just dropped the last names, right? So, where's we on? We was on that serpent in the Garden of Eden. It's not sexuality, it is doubt. Do you doubt that you are here as a spirit being to function within a physical reality? Well, of course you do. Let me assure you that this is a common misconception. There is all too often a feeling of non-worth, of limitation, at times of hopelessness and futility because of the constrictions of the physical body. Yet within the structure of your physical realm, great progress can be made. This is the purpose of your reincarnation. As long as there is a material body, you are carrying doubt. Do not despise your doubting. That is the human condition. When there is no more doubt, you do not need to be human anymore. Know that your every step is unerringly guided on a perfect route to your destination. Whatever you may consider to be a side road is not a side road at all, but the best of all possible paths. It is only by going into the caverns of doubt that you find the truth and the light. At times of giant steps in the soul's evolutionary expansion, there are moments of great insecurity. Let me offer you an analogy. When you take your foot from one rung of a ladder to put it on the next, there is nothing for your foot to stand on for that brief moment. If you were to focus all of your attention and identify all of your reality with with the sole of the suspended foot, you would truly be in a state of terror. But you do not see the hands holding the sides of the ladder, or the other foot firmly planted on the other rung beneath. Would you speak about ridding oneself of attachment? It depends on what you feel attached to. There is nothing wrong with attachment if it does not limit you. Attachment in a negative sense is aligning yourself with with a physically materialized reality and saying, this is where I'm safe, this is where I have power, and this is where I'm going to stay. But physical things can be beautiful, and there is joy and beauty. It is not the material object that is the joy. It is your appreciation of it. And whatever can teach you joy and pleasure has value. If detachment were the order of the day, then oneness would be eliminated from your physical schoolroom. How would oneness then be learned? One needs to practice with that sort of thing. How would you begin to understand where you yourself avoid or interfere with the very oneness you are? You are seeking to learn without the reaching and the longing and the need for each other. There would be no human community. One of the fondest dreams that we in spirit hold is of that moment when all souls, all hearts, all hands will reach out to touch each other. There will be no detachment then, only a glorious light. Just to add a note of encouragement, this is beginning to happen. How do we experience painful circumstances without becoming embittered by them? By seeing them as lessons and not retribution. Trust life, my friends, however far afield life seems to take you. This trip is necessary. You have come to traverse a wide terrain of experience in order to verify where truth lies, and where your distortion is in that terrain, you will then be able to return to your home center, your soul self, refreshed and wiser. Whatever satellite goals may be found in life, the singular intent is always the soul's process of becoming one with the self and God. Be comforted and walk your life in light and trust, for nothing will come to you that is not meant to be. There is nothing that can happen in your life that in any way threatens your soul. Indeed, all of life's experience embraces its awareness. There is nothing that does not serve the process of your soul's growth. Until there is a fundamental trust, there will always be the sense that something is left undone, that something is waiting in the wings to to charge out. During a moment of joyous fulfillment, to shout, "Aha! You forgot about this one." You're not perfect at all, and the sky will come tumbling down. Yeah, can't forget about that one. Not perfect at all. How do we experience painful circumstances without becoming... Oh, that's the one I just read, huh? Yeah. The feast of life, creation, joy, abundance, and fulfillment. In your joy, you are celebrating God. You are celebrating the feast of life. This is not something to be denigrated on the grounds that there is more to life than pleasure. Certainly there is more. There is an infinity of more. One is never finished with the process of growth, of seeking, serving, and loving. The delights of the physical world are the delights of the spirit world. It is all one. Your human joy will not take you away from your love for God. Love is love. If you cannot tolerate human bliss, how will you withstand the bliss of the eternal oneness going, yeah, it's like, be like me with my kitties. Yeah. If you were to check into the consciousness of a rock, you would find a great deal of pleasure there. You would find a sense of oneness that is comforting, a delight in being just a rock. In the flow of its being, a rock is in a state of ecstasy. Ecstasy cannot be scaled on a rating from 1 to 10. It is ecstasy. Why are you all so suspicious of joy and softness? Is this not also God's world? Joy is a natural ingredient of life. You human beings tend to be hurried and pressured and thereby deny yourselves the exquisite pleasure of savoring your lives. In that way, a great amount of joy and sweetness goes unnoticed. If life is lived with care and attention, it will give you the substance and richness you long for. Allow yourselves to renew your commitment to your lives and to yourselves many times a day. You feel that because your years for the warmth and the softness of life, that this will somehow lull you into inactivity. Must there always be a harsh other reality or outer reality to remind you of God? If you cannot trust beauty when you find it, how can you open your heart in oneness with God, which is eternal beauty? Would it not be more suited to the inner longing of each soul to envision eternal consciousness as a gentle laugh rather than a serious contemplation? A gentle laugh instead of... Life is only ponderous when you are not connected to everlasting joy. A great deal of solemnity, solemnity, how do you say it? Like aloneness, solemn. I don't know. I can't fucking pronounce it when I read it. Serves no function. You need to laugh. You need to play, each in his own way. Childlike, childlike qualities are godlike qualities in their spontaneity and joy. Even the foolishness, even the foolishness and the fun, the dancing, the love, the surrender, the abandoned lightness are part of the growing, pulsating human being. That is a blessing to your world. God did not design pain and suffering. Resistance designed pain and suffering. God's will is to light the world with peace, joy, health, and abundance, and with the awareness that this is a temporary stopover. Joy is learning. Joy is experiencing without pain. Once you have accepted without question that you exist in eternity in a conscious being, that we in spirit exist, that God exists, then the outer circumstances of your life will lighten perceptibly. You will not create or call to you any darkness or distortion. It does not mean that there will be one section of your geographical earth called Eden, but it means that you will have an awareness of the true meaning of the events. That's it. As long as you inhabit the physical body, you will be subject to the physical world, yet the experience will be totally different. There will be no pain. This is not compromise. This is not compromise. It is not saying, well, then I understand I am eternal, and so this agony doesn't mean anything. No, no. You will experience no agony, literally, as well as figuratively and conceptually. This is not nationalization. That would be a trap. It is a total absorbance in the truth, because you see pain and joy through the telescope of past human teachings. You find it difficult to believe that you can exist in a state of joy where pain can be dissolved into the reality of joy without denial. Joy simply alters pain's existence. Where are you, kitty kitty? You need to know the great power that lies in the act of visualization. Vision is spiritually reality, and all things that exist in your world first exist in spirit. The concept comes first, then the physical, which is a denser matter, follows. Once you challenge your preconceptions, they become misconceptions. The um, diameters of your awareness expand. A wall, for instance, is no longer only a wall, but a bit of moving, vibrating consciousness. Anything that can be envisioned can be brought into your physical reality. Whenever the feeling comes over you that you have no choice, I urge you to call a halt to everything. This is a trick you play on yourself to avoid having to assume the responsibility and therefore the responsibility and therefore the joy of life. Envision instead what it is you truly want. Test it. Be careful of this, my friends, because if you envision something quite casually and do it with conviction, even though you may not be sure you want it, it will manifest. This is neither magic nor false hope. It is reality of the power of your creative impulse. This is why it is so important to develop self-awareness to the depths of your ability, so that no creation can come about in your life without you having made the choice. You have designed your life yourself. You have created nothing in your outer reality. That is stranger to you. The, the inestimable joy of human manifestation is to see around you in what seem to be outer circumstances, what you truly believe as a soul. Look at your physical manifestations as a symbol and view your body as an extension of your word or of your soul. The spoken word of your being. Your life is not your master, it is your child. Your joy of creation must not be limited to humankind. There is, for instance, a great deal of enjoyment in the consciousness creating a portion of itself in the form of other beings that exist in your world. What what delight you would experience in creating from your own consciousness a beautiful flower. What pleasure to see to a sleek cat or monstrous elephant. I am not being fanciful here. I am explaining the way of consciousness. Creates its own self for exploration. So where in the consciousness of the universe there is the productivity or proclivity to experience oneself as a flower, then a flower evolves. You know, like you plant a seed and then it pops up, and once it pops up, then it kind of, starts blooming. It's a beautiful analogy there. Since you are in human form, it is understandably difficult to think of yourself as having consciousness beyond your humanness, and still choosing to create a portion of yourself as a lesser being. So I will put that aside and let your imagination play. Let your imagination play. Like what Jesus did, right? He had, or Wayne Screen. He has quite the imagination. Make up all this stuff, right? You can create for yourself a garden of bliss if you believe in it, and you can create for yourself intolerable suffering if you believe that is necessary. This is not intellectual. This is not intellectual. None of you wants to suffer, but there are belief systems that are handed down from generation to generation that perpetuate these labels. It would be interesting for you to speak to the oldest member of your family and ask them about the family superstitions and beliefs. What is the structure within which you have lived your life? It will be illuminating. Is walking for material things a hindrance to our spiritual purpose? Not if you are not if you see material things as materialized consciousness. When one is in a material world, one must have food and clothing, and one desires a home that is beautiful, comfortable, and a place to be. Can't even have that anymore, really. These are the accoutrements of self-love. When self-love is truly acknowledged, you will not deny yourself any of these things. Self-love will open your hands to receive as well as to give. And certainly is not taking something away from someone else. Your universe is boundless. There is more than enough of everything for everyone. How does one take in the bounty that is there? Or how does one take in the bounty that is there? What does one do to deserve opulence? You think this is not a difficulty? Wait and see. Until such a time when you have mastered the art of receiving, you must supply yourself with the material necessities. If you can release your guilt about money and accept it as a part of the divine universe and the physical reality of your earth, you will see that it has no more or less power than you give it. It is a necessity. You will hold the sense of money. You all hold the sense of money too tightly. Sometimes I don't ask for success on the physical plane because I feel like I should find joy in what is here and now, or what's here and now, And I get confused about wanting for myself. Do you have any feelings on this? I have very strong feelings on that. Hold on. Hey, I'm live on YouTube. Sorry. I have very strong feelings on that. There is a misconception permeating spiritual practice that says you must want nothing in order to have everything. If that is taken in the context in which it was given, the want that is referred to there is greed. However, when there is desire to taste the abundance of your world and to receive it with love, I see no reason at all why you should not have it. There is only conflict where you believe there is a separation between the bounty in your world and the bounty of God's love. When you had a body, what did you do for a living, Emmanuel? In my last incarnation, I was someone very much like you, with one exception, in that I followed my heart without one shred of guilt, regret, or fear. I became a teacher, and I walked around your world and allowed myself to be touched with love, and I gave it back wherever I could. I'll tell you something else. I was rich, not perhaps in the coinage that is so rigidly associated with wealth, but I was rich, and I never went a day without enough to eat. I never went a night without a wonderful place to sleep. I had my home, I had my work, and I had my integrity. You dear souls walk so cautiously as you enter the Garden of Eden. Don't you know that is your rightful home? There is such fear when the thought of complete fulfillment comes into your consciousness. You are so identified with the seeking that the finding becomes a threat. Indeed, it is the most difficult thing in the entire human experience to claim yourself and your life and your light and your truth and your God. Anyway, I just wanted to come on. Hello, Credence. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'm working on just getting myself back up. Yeah. So, forgive me. You guys all be blessed. Be good. Know you're loved. It's hard to know that sometimes, you know. You are very much loved. It's like, oh, I'm so in love with humanity. Magnetic services. Jesus loves you. I love you. We all love you. Have a good one.